Here's something that's kind of interesting. This is a systems class, right? So we got to figure out, really, we're going to talk about systems. And if you think of the company, here's the way I look at it. The company has an engine in it, right? And that engine is everything the company does that drives it forward, just like a car. If you have a car and you have parts in that engine that don't do anything, or cause friction, or slows the car down, what should you do in designing that engine? You should remove those parts, right? So in your company, everything's got to flow together smoothly and support the purpose of the company, or you really should get rid of it. And so a lot of times, have you ever heard that your intended consequences may not happen, but unintended consequences always happen? Okay, there's certain things that if you change things in your organization, it's going to have a effect similar to a pinball machine. You pull back this lever. Anybody know? Some of you might not even know what a pinball machine is. It's a long time since they were out. But you pull back a lever and a little metal ball bounces around and it comes equilibrium. And it goes all over the place. Ching, 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 ching. Anyway, that's the pinball machine. And it goes to equilibrium. Well, that's the way change happens in your organization. Let me show you that. Okay, this is the picture we're going to draw. But here's where we're going to do it. Let's pretend like we're going to start a company in this room. You guys are the company people, right? So we got together and said, here's the company. Now, before we ever come together, and I tell you the idea for the company, something exists. And it's on the board. It's the external environment, right? So whenever the company started, they started within an environment. That makes sense? First step, you got to know what the external environment is, right? There's domestic, in-country, international, outside the country, depending on the company. Okay? Now, the moment we came together, people came together. So another element, there's only 5 things you got to think about in a company. And everything will fit into these 5 things. It's either exterior to the company or the people within the company. Okay? People within the company kind of create a foundation for organizational structure. We came together, we voted, or Lisa had the money, so she became president. And Lisa recruited Beverly because Beverly knows everything there is to know about the books that we're going to do. Okay? And we're all fitting in there somewhere. So president, the chief financial officer, and on and on and on. The moment we did that, we built an organizational structure. Okay? So far we got external environment, people, organizational structure. The moment we put a structure together, what we have is the internal environment. Everything in this room is part of the internal environment. Everything outside this room is part of the exterior, the external environment. Got that? Organizational structure is important, okay, to our environment, because if she's hard to work with, man. So we see that it affects organizational structure. Everything else is a system. I mean, there's financial systems, there's our freight systems, there's the trucks are systems, the building's a system, the air conditioning's a system, the way we recruit people is a system. Everything's a system. Everything else is a system. So here's the way that works. I already told you this. So anybody ever heard of ISO 9000? Anybody heard of quality? Okay, anybody heard of rules and regulations? Yes. Anybody have any kind of governmental regulations where they work under? Okay, so ISO, international standards for quality, developed in the European common market because they wanted to drop the borders and still have good quality, so they invented this. Then they decided, well, the whole world has to have ISO standards before they can sell to us because we have to meet our ISO standards. So US says, oh man, we got to meet these ISO standards. We had a quality department and we did all kinds of great things. But we didn't know what ISO 9000 was. So here's how it affected us. It's a quality standard that we have to come in from. So we have to use, come in from, I don't know what that meant. So external environment, the metal ball hit our external environment, right? Bounced around internationally, came over domestically, and then as soon as our domestic environment was affected, people wouldn't buy our products unless we're ISO certified. They gave us a little time to do this, but still we had a lot of work to do. So now everybody in our organization has to understand this. So first thing it does, it affects our system. We have to put this system in place. We got to figure out what it is. It's a quality system. It's called ISO 9000. What are we going to do? We don't know. So it affects our environment. We're all stressed out because we got to do this in 3 months or we lose all our contracts. That's a bummer. Maybe 6 months. And it happens. So now we have to hire people. Let's hire somebody that knows ISO 9000. We got to fire our current quality manager and hire an ISO 9000 manager. We'll put that person under this person if they want to stay for reduced pay. So it affected people. It affected our organizational structure because we just revamped our whole quality department. And then affected our people again, because now they got to learn this stuff. We're going to have auditors going to ask them questions. What's your mission? What's your... it's going to be a pain, but we got to do it. And then we do it, and now we're able to sell to our environment, and we become an excellent quality company. Do you see how that worked? It's a little pinball. Bounces around the organization. Well, most of it isn't that easy because we got a bunch of these pinballs bouncing, reflecting off each other, and some of them are breaking into BBs. There's a whole bunch of things that happen, right? But you can think of, if you're going to go through this and think of a company as a system, you can think of what are the 5 pieces that you need to look at. You need to look at the external environment, people, the organizational structure, internal environment, or systems. The systems are processes and everything, So that's the way to look at it.